Welcome back to the trade room. And this episode here, we are going to be doing pods. Pods, baby. How bloody good. The point of difference, how you can make a little bit of a difference in your team and win Supercoach this season. Starting with the right, obviously, cheapies, starting the right common players. A lot of players will obviously have very similar players, like the top sort of 10 or 11 players to start the season. However, where you can make your ground early is getting the right pods. Guys that are under 15, 10% owned, that not a lot of people are going for, but you can really back them in and you can actually really make a move up the leaderboard nice and early and really try and maintain your position and actually have a strong finish to your Supercoach season. And makes a whole lot of difference, especially with cash generation early on. And I have got 27 pods I am going to run through with you in this episode here. I'm going to go through in each position, pods that you can look forward to start with in your Supercoach season. So before we get started, make sure you go check out all my other episodes of the trade room. We've done cheapies, we've done players you should be going for, players you should be avoiding, done my team reveal as well. So plenty of episodes there for you as well. Make sure obviously like this video and subscribe to the channel as well before we get started into the NRL season. 8 days away from Vegas, baby. So freaking keen, but I'm also a bit anxious with starting Supercoach, and the hardest part about Supercoach is literally the round one team, because you got to pick 26 guys that you've got to stick with for a week, and then once you've done round one, you just have to do 1, 2, 3 trades a week, and it's nice and easy. You don't have to overthink anything, but trying to fit in 26 players and players that you want, players that you're trying to like not fade and that sort of thing is pretty bloody tricky. But the pods is where I think it comes down to mainly, and I said got 27 pods for you here. I'm going to try and do a couple minutes on a few of the key ones here that I think are quite noticeable, and I am going to just sort of go through them quickly. Some other ones that I think they're sort of good to talk about, but like don't need to be talked about massively. What I've done as well, these are all numbers that you'll see on the screen onto the new Supercoach scoring as well. So I've got a shout out to RL Fantasy Pro. If you're not, I've subscribed to it. If you're not subscribed, make sure you go subscribe. You get all the stats, updated scoring as well, heading into this year with the new scoring rules, that sort of thing. So all the scores that you see will be based off new scoring that you see, which I think is pretty bloody cool. And there'll be a couple players on there that I've adjusted their scoring to their best matchup. So when I say best matchups, it could mean like, Harry Grant is based on with Jerome Hughes and Cameron Munster in the team there as well. Keanu Keeney is based off Jaden Campbell with him in the side. Jaden Campbell's based off Keanu Keeney in the side. That sort of thing, because they're the sort of like matchups that we're going to be looking at this year, and I think it's actually quite important to have a look at that. But without further ado, instead of starting at the boring hookup spot and heading down to the exciting stuff, I'm going to get right started into the exciting stuff. Right at fullback, we're going to start from the bottom up. So with your fullbacks here, I've got 4 options for you in the fullback pods here, and this is such an interesting one because I feel like I could have put maybe a couple more in there that are what I've gone for the pods, by the way, I forgot to mention, is guys that are pretty much 10% owned and under. Honestly, if I looked at 15% or 20%, I could be here for fucking ever, because there are so many bloody options like under 20% that you could literally go for to start the year. Obviously, you've got guys on there that are above 10% owned on the fullbacks, like your James Tedesco's, like your Reece Walsh's, that sort of thing. But here are 4 guys I think are pretty good options if you are looking to start with a little bit of a pod options to start the year. We're going to start with the main one here. I'm going to spend a bit more time on fullback. So Tom Drojevic, 8.5% owned, probably the lowest percent ownership I've ever seen from Turbo in ages when it comes to Supercoach, 692k. With Turbo scoring, I've just based it 2025 average, just based it off fullback scoring, which is where he'll be starting this year. So 61.5 average, just average. That when he was playing at fullback for Manly last year, 41 base and power, 17 create, and 17 evade there. Very interesting, because you look at that 61.5 average and at fullback, and probably maybe not an option that you should be, I guess, looking at. However, if you think Drojevic is going to do really well with Manly this year, you think captaincy is going to really open up some doors, 100% go for it. But probably not for me looking at that one there. Next one on your list is KP Kalimpong, a 7.3% owned, 608k, 58.5 average there at fullback there. Last year, 33 base and power. Obviously, was goal kicking as well for a little bit as well. Obviously, injury affected the year last year. And with KP, sounds like he's a bit injury riddled. From what I know is, we know Dylan Brown and Sandon Smith are now confirmed in the halves that we've heard from Justin Holbrook, but I've heard that Kalen Ponga will not be goal kicking in Vegas, which is a bit of a red flag for me, a bit of an alarm bell. The fact that he's going to be playing but not goal kicking, which means that he's still got a little bit of a niggle, but he's obviously just not bad enough to leave him out of the whole play. Probably not someone for me to start the year. These next two I think are quite interesting because Dylan Edwards, 1.9% owned, which is pretty incredible, playing alongside Nathan Cleary, price 777k, average 68.6 last year. That is playing with Nathan Cleary. Now, I did these graphics yesterday, which was a Friday recording on a Saturday. Since then, Nathan Cleary is most likely going to be suspended either 2 or 3 games to start the year, which is pretty incredible. 49 base and power for Dylan Edwards, 13 create, 17 evade. We do know when Dylan Edwards is in the side and Nathan Cleary is not, you generally actually see an uptick with Nathan Cleary, with Dylan Edwards. So it could be the first 2 rounds or 3. Then you're looking at origin time if you think he's, well, depending if you think he's going to be fullback or not there. Again, you got to be probably looking at the average compared to the price. And if you're someone that's looking not really regarding average compared to price, you got to be thinking that they're in for a pretty hot year this year, either getting increased minutes, they've got better players alongside them, and they'll just be getting more ball overall. But again, not someone for me to start this year. The bottom one, though, is someone that I'm actually quite interested in. Jai Gray, 7.8% owns, 560k at fullback last year. When playing 4 games, 60.7 average there. Base and power, 44 create, 8, 13 evade. Now you've finally got a healthy South Sydney team to start the year. You're going to have, I think he's going to be part of a lot of ball going left with Fafita, Latrell, Cody Walker. Maybe he's that last pass to Latrell. Maybe he's the last pass to Fafita. Maybe he's the last pass to AJ and gets the assist. You look at that, I think you're getting a little bit of value with Jai Gray. Now you put him in pretty much a better side compared to the South team last year. I think Jai Gray is a very, very good option heading into this year. If you're maybe looking to go 3 fullback option, and maybe if you're looking just to someone to partner Keanu Keeney instead of a guy like Suafalongo, very, very interesting. Jai Gray currently in my side in the flex position there. All right, let's head into our CTWs here. I honestly was going to do 2 pages for this because I do think there are potentially more than 6 options, but these are, I think, 6 good options heading into this year. Excuse me. Keeping on with the South train, Campbell Graham, 7.2% owned, price 431k, average 44.9 last year, base and power 45, evade 11, create just 2. On that right wing spot there, just 7.2% owned for a guy that's, I looked at 2023 season, the last time when you think Souths were at the peak, right? They were leading the comp after 11 rounds in 2023. He was $800,000. $800,000. If you think Souths are going to get anywhere near the position that they're in 2023, Campbell Graham has got all the bloody value in the world. Could be a serious downgrade option if he pops off in the first 2 rounds. He's looking to make a lot of cash, but man, it could be a cheeky little Potterella option to start the season on that right wing if you're looking to potentially fade the left side. I would want to see it in the trial. I think it's tonight, South's play when I'm recording this, and just see how they all go. They're pretty much starting their best possible team that they have. They're very interested to see which way they go with the ball predominantly. Val Holmes, 6.6% owned, 734k, 70, pretty much an 80-point average last year for the Dragons. 45 base and power, create 14, 19 evade there. Only thing that's keeping him away from Val Holmes is he had a little hammy niggle in training last week here. And honestly, Vegas as well. I just wish, I guess, they weren't playing in Vegas because I'd probably be looking him a little bit more. Especially in the center position, especially obviously with the new rules. Scoring adjustments, he gets an uptick, as you can see, an 80-point average there. You're getting literally 6 60k of value, it seems like. Goal kicking as well. So yeah, very good option, I think, Val Holmes heading into this year as a little cheeky pod. Isaac Tonga, a guy that's getting definitely a bit of an uptick when it comes to the scoring in the new rules. Just 3.8% owned, 500k essentially, 55-point average last year. Base in power 44 as well, so he's going to get you a pretty consistent score most weeks. And a guy that's probably going to have Brian Toto next to him on that right wing, or maybe Paul Alamotti actually, sorry, in that right wing, excuse me. Very good edge it was come, especially finals last year. I'm not exactly sure what his, actually, let me have a look for you right now to see what his average was in the finals last year with Alamotti next to him there. Let me just be one tick. I'll just check regular finals there. He had a 79-point average in the finals last year, which is pretty bloody insane. 39 against the Warriors. He scored 110 against the Doggies and 88 against the Broncos. So you think Alamotti was absolutely popping off in those last two games there, which is pretty insane. That is a 79-point average in the finals with Alamotti there on the right wing. Very, very, very interesting there. Another one here, Sammy Stonestreet, 6.3% owned. Going to be on that left wing, I'd say, for the Sharkies with Ronaldo Mulatalo injured to start the year. 496k, 54.4 adjusted average, 33 base and power. A guy that's going to be scoring a lot of tries on that left wing there. Hines and Trindle both love to go left quite a lot. I'm very close to starting with Stonestreet as well. I think I'm just actually really going big in my starting CTW this year. I don't think you can go CTW 5. I just think there's a lot of cheapy options in the CTWs this year, whether it's Bayamani, whether it's Makasini, whether it's Tom Chester, whether it's Setu 2 there as well. Very good option, I still think, Sammy Stonestreet heading into this year. This next one, holy Julie, this one is so underrated. Daniel Tupou, 1.3% owned. I think at some stage last year, I actually went Daniel Tupou. Everyone was on Mark Nwangani Tawase, and I went the other side. I went Daniel Tupou. And I think you'll see why. 637k. Now, you'll see that you're probably like, if you're looking on YouTube, watching on YouTube, you're thinking 79.9 average. No way, that can't be right. However, I've adjusted this with Sammy Walker in the side. When you put Sammy Walker in the side with Daniel Tupou, his average last year was 79.9. Absolutely unbelievable average there. 80 average with Sammy Walker in the side. So it might be seem a lot with 637k. But man, at 1.3% owned, a guy that's 36 base and power, so not the worst in the world. Still gets pretty good attacking stats, but a guy that just scores so many tries. Is Nwangani Tawase going to have some regression on that right wing? For me, I just want to see it before. I just want to see how this attack goes. I think I'll see it this afternoon when they play. I think they play Parramatta. I just want to see how it all goes together with DCE and Sammy Walker in the side. But yeah, when you put Sammy Walker and Daniel Tupou in the same side, 80-point average for Daniel Tupou, which is pretty bloody amazing. Another one here who was absolutely gangbusters when he came into the side last year, Taylor May, 5.2% owned, 617k, 73.7 average, 46 base and power, create 11, 23 evade. Now, after last night with what I saw with Hamasi Makasini, holy freaking dooly, Taylor May could get a whole bunch of assists with Hamasi Makasini in the side. 73.7 average is pretty bloody epic there on that left center role. Looks like a lot of value there that you're getting. The only thing I think it's shying a lot of people away is that first round buy. But if you're happy to start with a cheapie there in that first round and just get round one over and done with, maybe you think there's a bit of value with a cheapie in round one, mate, Taylor May is looking a very, very good option there for sure. 617k, and you're getting a lot of value there, it seems. Base and power is really solid as well. And then you're going to have Makasini there on the left wing, which going by last night, they're going to go a lot that way now because he absolutely brained it last night. He's absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, 6, I think, very good CTW options heading into this year. Honestly, I can easily make a case of all of them, as I spoke about. Those bottom two, though, I think are very, very good options looking at those averages and how they actually play with different players in the team. All right, let's have a look at our 5'8". Got a few for you here, there. Just a 3 here because obviously most people are going to have Jonah Pizzette. Then you're looking at the first 5'8" to start in your team, which is absolute debacle to start the year. Could be absolutely anything, honestly, but I've got 3 guys for you here. Ethan Strange, 9.1% owned, 610k, 58-point average last year, 33 basic and power. Coming off, again, he's only, second mainly year starting in the NRL. He's going to be on the right edge, apparently, for the Raiders this year, mainly playing on the right side, which for me, I see as a bit of a downside because he's not going to have Hudson Young next to him as well. And I just want to see the combo and how it works with Ethan Sanders, right? And we're not going to get to see that until round 1, which is a bit of a shame. Ethan Strange not even playing a trial, neither is Ethan Sanders. So for me, it's a sit and watch with Ethan Strange. For me, he peaked a lot with the price last year. And he had an absolute unbelievable year. Raiders getting the minor premiership. So not generally a guy that I'm looking at. I guess I could probably see a way why people are starting with him. But for me, my 26 guys, I want to be confident to know what their role is going to be like and how they're looking heading into round 1 for me. So not for me, Ethan Strange start the season, but 9.1% owned, little cheeky pot option. Ezra Mam, interesting option, 6.3% owned, 585k, the 59.3 average. Let me have a check. I think I did that with Reynolds and Reece Walsh in the side there as well. 32 base and power, 16 crate, 12 evade. I mean, I think he's priced pretty correctly, right? I mean, I think if you're going to look at a Broncos attacking player, you're probably looking at a better like CTW, or you're looking at Reece Walsh. Maybe he's a little cheeky pot option, but I can see Ezra Mam having really good games, and I can see him having really poor games. For me, in the 5'8", especially if you got Jonah Pizzette as well, you kind of want someone I think is going to be a little bit more consistent to start the year. So not for me, Ezra Mam. Definitely a little cheeky pod option though. And last one on this list, someone I'm definitely interested in, Blaze Talangi. This was even before yesterday's game, the trial. 2.5% owned, 581k. I get it. 55 average last year, 37 base and power, 15 carry, 7 evade. Now he's most likely going to have no Cleary now next to him to start the year. Let me just quickly check while I've got everything here. If he played many games last year without... See, I don't know if I can see it without Cleary. That is the thing. No, I won't be able to see it with Cleary, actually. I think he plays a bigger role now when Cleary's not in the team, whether it's Origin, whether it's going to be the first 2 or 3 rounds this year there. I think Blaze Talangi is in for a huge year. You look at the back half of last year, I think he absolutely killed it. I think his defense is going to be better as well. And second year in this Panthers system can only do him the world of good, right? I think Blaze Talangi, I called it, well, this was my call when I did the Panthers sort of preview. Or even the ladder prediction, I think, a couple months ago. I said Blaze Talangi is going to be the Dally and 5'8" of the year this year. I have so much belief in Blaze Talangi. I think he's an absolute superstar of our game at the moment. Super young talent. I think he's going to be absolute unreal this year. So someone I'm definitely considering. At the moment, I've got Jackson Purdue in there, but someone I'm definitely considering, especially now that Cleary will not be there the first couple of weeks. I definitely think you could have some big scores against the Broncos and the Sharks, I think it is. All right, heading into, we're just done 5'8", heading to halfbacks here. Just got a couple options because a lot of your options. Now, obviously, Cleary's not going to be there. Mainly people looking at Hines and Jaden Campbell there as well. And then you've got your 2 cheapies there as well in the halfbacks. 2 here for you. Sammy Walker, 6.7% owned, 683k. Pretty much a 78-point average last year. Unbelievable. 24 base and power, 35 create, 8 evade. Goal kicking as well. Unbelievable average compared to his price there. Again, for me, I just want to see how he goes with DCE in the side, which I'll see this afternoon when they play. I just want to see how it all works together. It's just a sit and watch for me. I'm not ruling out owning him at all this year. I just want to see how he goes. I think it's a tricky round 1 matchup against the Warriors in round 1. Although I haven't been impressed with the Warriors defense in the 2 trials. However, it's just a tricky place to play in New Zealand, and I think it might be just a tiny bit rusty. The fact that they only would have played one trial together, probably like half a trial pretty much. Maybe they play 50, 60 minutes together before getting to round one. I'm just very intrigued to see how it all works. I don't think you can have any confidence to see how it all works, considering DC has never been the second man in the halves. He's always been the top guy that runs the attack. Now you've got two pretty attacking halves there, and I'm just very intrigued to see how it all works. Like, do we see? Yeah, I have no idea how it all works. So it's for me not to start. I don't think he's going to lose too much cash, but I just don't know what it looks like. I just need to see. Second one on the list is going to be Jerome Hughes, 5.8% owned, 631k, 64 average. That is with Harry Grant and Cameron Munster in the side with him there. Obviously, I can't do Pappenhausen because now Stuart Falongo is fullback. Not too many sort of data with all three of them playing, or all four of them playing together. 28 base and power, 23 crate, and 12 evade. I can see the appeal. The goal kicking, no goal kicking is a bit annoying. And I just think you've got a guy like Munster next to him as well. You've got Falongo there. You've got Harry Grant there as well. Feels like a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to the Storm. Again, I just want to see it with Jerome Hughes. I want to know that he's like really attacking the ball. By all means, if Munster or Falongo was someone to get injured and maybe Hughes gets more of the ball, let me see if there's any games that Jerome Hughes played in like the last couple years. I won't be able to see it. I wish I could see it without like. So the feature that you can do in RL Fantasy Pro is really cool. You can actually add players that they've played with. There is just not a feature yet that playing without that player there, which I'll have to look into a bit further. But again, 64-point average playing with those two last year. I think he's priced about right, honestly. I don't think he's going to get a massive uptick in the new scoring. Again, just a sit and watch me with Jerome Hughes. All right, let's get into 2RF. And then 2RF for me is a big, long list. I've got 2 pages for this. I've got 8 players in total, I believe, for second rowers here. I think there's honestly 2RF is an open basket. You can do whatever you like, I think, and I think it's going to be a good option no matter where you look. I am assuming most people will have the cheapies on the bench, where it's going to be Jacob Laban now, where it's going to be Patson, where it's going to be Cooper Bai, where it's going to be Lasardi, where you have all 4, where you have just 3 of them, where you have 2 of them. I'm assuming people are going to have 3 of those cheapies on their bench there, which leaves you 3 pretty good options there to go with in the middle. Whether it's going to be Cam Murray, whether it's going to be Isaiah Yeo there as well. Obviously, you're going to have David Fafita there as well. So you've got 2 other options that I think are pretty open to whatever you want to pick. And you look at these stats, and it looks pretty freaking good when you look at this. So top one on the list, the forgotten man, I reckon, for Primo 2RS that no one I think is looking at. And that's going to be Jacob Preston. Just going to move my mic a bit closer. Jacob Preston, man, absolutely kills it on the right edge. Now he's got Lockie Galvin next to him on the right. 8.6% owned, 684k, 73.6 average there with Justice scoring. 59 base and power, 3 create, 11 evade. I think he literally had 40, like nearly 35, 40 base and power in that first half of the trial last week, which is unbelievable. Super handy guy. I'm super intrigued to see how the combination with him and Galvin works. I can definitely see myself owning Jacob Preston by round 5, round 6, if he's not 750k. But based on that, I think doggies are going to be a bit more improved on attack now that Galvin's been an assistant for off season now. Jacob Preston feels like the forgotten man in the Tour F when it comes to the premium ones. He's looking very, very good, I think, heading into this year. Isaiah Papali'i, IPAP, 6.3% owned. Could potentially getting that starting role there on the left side. Now Scott Sorensen has been rumoured to go to Perth. I think this really opens up the door for IPAP. 6.3% owned, 580k. When he plays, I think it's at least 60 minutes there in a game. He averages nearly 66. 57 base and power, 1 crate, 13 of 8. He was absolutely everywhere, I thought, last night. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I thought he was unbelievable last night. I don't know how many minutes he played. I won't get up for you quickly. I think this could be a very cheeky little pod option. A guy that's not been talked about. I think if he's starting in that left edge in round 1, with Blaze Talangi next to him as well, assuming Liam Martin's on the right. Oh boy, this is a very good option, I think. 66 average when he plays at least, I think it's either at least 60 or 65 minutes. 57 base and power. So he's nearly hitting his price in just base and power. He scores a cheeky try in there. Oh boy, he's in for a big year. We know what IPAP can do. He's awesome when he's at Parramatta. Didn't do too well when he's at the Tigers, but is in the second year now at Penrith. I think he's going to be way improved now, a bit more used to the system. I think Scott Sorensen is on the way out. I think he's very injury prone as well. IPAP, very good option heading into this year. Gus Crichton, 10.5% I just chucked him in there just because he's hanging around the 10%. Gus Crichton last year in the NRL before he heads off to rugby next year. Heard of a lot of things, whether people think he's going to go big this year because it's his last year. He wanted to finish on a high. I can agree with that for sure. 610K. I think when he's got Sammy Walker in the side, let me actually confirm that for you. I think I did that based off Sam Walker. When he's got Sam Walker in the side last year. Playing with Sam Walker last year had 68.5 average. It's a little bit more of an uptick there. Base and power was 61, so pretty similar. Mate, 62 base and power for a guy at 610K. You know what you're going to get with Gus Crichton. Now you got Sammy Walker there to start the season. Then you got DCE next to him. 15 evade there as well. Very good option for sure, especially with the new scoring. Guy that has literally the potential to score a try, if not one, if not two tries a game. Looking very good. Coming off a down year as well. He is absolutely elite in 2024. Let me see if I can get his 24 numbers up while I am here. 2024, he averaged 86.5 with Sammy Walker in the side. Holy motherfucking shit. Oh my goodness gracious. 66 base and power in 2024 when he had got the Wally Lewis medal in Origin. He had an absolute career year 2024. 86.5 average there. Now, if you think he's going to do that similar this season, 86.5 average of Sammy Walker at 610K, looking like an absolute bargain option to start the season there. Oh my goodness gracious me. I should have put in the 2024 stats as well, because that's incredible. Coming off a down year, that's why his price a little bit lower. That is something I'm going to have to second thoughts about, because that is unbelievable what that number is. 86.5 average there in 2024. Next one here, Britton Nicorat, 3.8% owned, coming off a little bit of a down year. I think 570K, 63 point average under the new rules, 51 base and power, 4 create, 13 evade. Again, I just want to see, because I thought he had a pretty good season in 2024. Let me have a look, see how he did. That average is based with Nico in the side there as well on the right. Let me see how he went in 2024. 72.4 average in 2024 there. Scored plenty of tries, a lot more tries I thought. He scored 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he scored a fair few tries with Nico in the side there. He runs one of the best lines in the game. So look, 63 average last year with Nico, 72 average the year before with Nico, 51 base and power, 54 base and power in 2024. A guy I'm really honestly thinking about. I can't have everyone, but this is the debacle, right? You can literally, especially when it comes to 2RF, start with any of these guys, I think, and they're a good option. They could absolutely go game busters, and I'll be kicking myself no matter what that I haven't started with one of these guys, because these 8 options that I've got are absolutely unbelievable. Honestly, I think they're so good. But Britton Nicorat on the right side next to Nico runs one of the best lines in the game. I think he's going to score more tries this year. I think he started really hot last year and then just went through an absolute cold patch after Vegas. But I think he's looking for a better year, off a little bit of a down year compared to last year. 10 points on average down from 2024. I think he'd be looking for a more improved year this year. Oh, this one is actually sitting in my team at the moment. He's looking fit as a fiddle. Luciano Leilua, 3.4% owned, 420K. Should be on that right edge for the Dragons. Again, I won't actually see it. We'll see how it goes in Vegas. 48 point average base of the new rules, 44 base and power. I think he scored 80 against Souths last week. Scored a try is there as well. That 48 point average is based when he plays at least 60 minutes as well. a very good option, I think, in that sort of mid-range of 420k. People are looking at sort of like a Helium Lukey there as well. I think you can go honestly with one of the two that I think honestly both on that right edge are looking pretty good heading into this year. Next one on the list, absolute beast. 3.1% owned. Dylan Lucas there on the left edge for the Knights, 744k. It's a big bicky to pay. However, when you get 76 average last year in that left edge role, 63 base and power, hard to ignore considering how bad the Knights attack was last year. The only qualm I have with this one here is he's so high priced, and the Knights attack looked pretty rubbish last week. I get it. It's just a trial. It's just a trial. It looked pretty average. It looked pretty fucking average, I thought. And I get the Knights attack was awful last year, but to me, it doesn't look very much improved after a couple of games that I've seen. So I'll probably own Dylan Lucas some stage during the year. I think his price will drop a little bit, but it also, I can see him scoring in Vegas. So just a little bit higher price for me. I think there's better options there, like your Angus Cryan, like your IPAP, Nickera, Preston, Isaiah Yo. I just think there's better primo options there in your Turaf. Tino as well, although I think Tino will get dual. I think Tino's a better option as well. All right, let's head into the second part of the 2RFs. Did I get this going? Yeah, here we go. So, there we go. Two more for you. Bo Fermor, 1.7% owned, 650k. 68.6 average heading this year, or last year, sorry, 59 base and power, 3 create, 11 evade. Man, so freaking underrated. Played Origin last year. I just don't think he gets talked about enough because, one, there's cheapies in the Titans, and two, he just plays for the Titans as well. I just think people are looking at other options. But bloody hell, 59 base and power there, nearly 69 point average. Nice. Average last year. That I believe that was playing with Jaden Campbell as well. 1.7% owned. Ultra pod to start the year there. A guy that can score tries. He can play absolute anyway. So versatile. I think he's a very good option. He was in my team at one point, like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, yeah, nah, just too risky. I look like an idiot if he goes low. But I can see why people would start with him. I think he's got a bit of value there. I just think Titans attack will be pretty good this year. I think the Titans will be improved as well under Josh Hannay. Last one on the list. I think there's people avoiding him just because of the first round buy. And that is going to be KPP, Kai Pierce-Paul, 1.2% owned, 604k. I started with him last year when everyone started with Dylan Lucas. I started with KPP. I forgot what he started at. Like he was like 420k or something last year. I'm not going to check now. Can't be bothered. 66 point average last year for Newcastle and how bad that attack was. 62 base and power as well for KPP. 4 create, 10 evade. 62 base and power. Loves an offload. Loves a run. Got a bunch of tackles as well last night and last season. Tigers attack, I think, should be more improved than Knights attack. I think he'll fit really well into this team. Honestly, it's just the first round buy that's really putting me off. I'll just have to play one of the cheapies, but I can easily see myself, again, having a guy like KPP by round 5, 6 kind of thing. Absolute elite option. I think you're getting so much value there. You're getting 60k value, I think, there, KPP. And that's going to be in now a more improved side than I think than the Knights. Just, again, I think I want to see and just see how he goes in a new team like the Tigers. But, again, very, 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 very good option, I think, as a pod option if you're happy with the first round buy, similar to Taylor May. All right, let's head into front row. I think I've got a few options here in your front row. I've got 2 options here that I think are pretty good to start the year. Stefano Utoikamanu, 4% owned, 515k, 61 point average last year. I think this only plays at least 40 or 50 minutes, I think. I think it's at least 40. 58 base and power, 15 evade as well. A guy that came back after Origin last year and absolutely killed it. And I've put this guy down, not one because of the value, but 2, second year syndrome in Melbourne, baby. We know guys in the front row under Craig Bellamy in their second year tend to absolutely kill it, like what we saw with Eli Katoa. I think what we're seeing with Trent Leary has been really improved there as well. Second year syndrome with forwards under Craig Bellamy. You see them start to offload more. Defense seems to be the focus with big forwards signings heading into the first year. Now I think he'll start to expand his game a little bit. I'm intrigued to see how he goes. I think they're playing tomorrow. I'm intrigued to see how he goes for them and see what sort of minutes he gets. I guess it's just a trial. Again, I think it's a pretty good option. I think you're getting some value. 61 point average. I haven't done that with Hughes or Munster. I think I've just based it off minutes because like the halves shouldn't impact his role too much there. But 58 base and power. Holy freaking dooly. 4% owned as well. A little cheeky pod option. I think he can get to 600k. I think it's a very, very good option. Very interested to see how he goes in the attacking side of things this year. But 15 evade there as well. It's tackle breaks, there's line breaks there as well. So he can break a tackle. I assume he's going to be playing Origin, I think, maybe this year again. Or maybe not with the new eligibility rules, but we'll see. But a guy that I've seriously been considering as well up the front row there as well. If Tino wasn't getting dual, I'll be seriously considering Stefano Utoikamanu to start the year. And then the third one here, Satili Tupanua. Now, I put Satili here because Leo Thompson is out the first 10 weeks. Now, 2.1% owned, 419k, and you'll see 63-point average there. I am pretty confident because I did this yesterday and I did so many different plays and whatnot. I am pretty confident I did Satili Tupanua last year's stats based off playing at least, I did play, so at least paying 40 minutes. At least. Which was 5 games last year, and he played 42, 40 minutes, 47 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm expecting at least that now that Leo Thompson is not in there to start the season. I think he's going to play a bigger role in this team. When he played at least 40 minutes last year, and he didn't even clips 50 in those games, he averages 63.2. 40 in base and power. A guy that can score a try there as well. 15 evade. I think he's going to have a bigger role now in this team to start the year for the doggies there. Now next to Max King. Max King cannot do all the hard stuff himself. I think he's going to need some help. And I think Satili Tupanua is going to be the guy that has to help him. Serious amount of value there. I just probably want to see it after a couple of rounds to see how his role is in this team without Leo Thompson. Mate, if he's getting at least 45 to 50 minutes and he's getting to 60, 63, which what I think he can, mate, he's straight into my team in round 3 without a shadow of a doubt. I think there's serious value there. I don't think anyone's considered him since Leo Thompson's been injured. Someone's got to fill that role there. And if it's, I'm not sure who it is off the top of my head. Who else could be? Maybe Sam Hughes. But, mate, I think Satili Tupanua is in for a huge start to the season with Leo Thompson out. So a serious amount of value there. You're literally looking at 200 grand value there if Satili Tupanua plays at least 40 minutes for the doggies this year. All right, there's your front row forwards. Let's finish it off with the hooker position. I've got a couple for you here. Around the 10% or under 10%. Now it's going to start off. Blake Brayley, 10.7% owned, the highest percent or most expensive hooker in the game to start the year, 654k. Coming off one of a career year last year, 68.7 average there. That is just based off the whole year there. Let me see what it was like when he started absolute careering it last year, because 2015, I am going to do, wish I could do from rounds. I can't do from like rounds sort of onwards, but mate, the back half of last year was just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. 69-point average essentially, and I said he came home with an absolute storm last year. 53 base and power as well. Started to get the running game going. Gets an uptick with the new scoring as well, as you can see there. If he continues the way he went at the end of last year, which was pretty much the best hooker in the game, mate, get Blake Brayley in your team. If you're not doing Harry Grant, get Blake Brayley in your team. I think you got to start with one of these two primo hookers, in my opinion. Honestly, I just think that scoring with the new scoring is so much of an uptick. I think you're going to get attacking stat with those two hookers there. Maybe even the third one as well that I'll mention down below. I just think Blake Brayley, you get what you pay for. You know what you're going to get. Pretty bloody solid. Probably not going to make heaps of cash, but it's just going to get you such good scores every single week, playing 80 minutes as well in the middle. And the last one, finish off the episode, number 27 pod, Connor Watson there. Now that Reece Robson is out, for the first couple of weeks. Apparently, he's going to be back in round 3, but still happy to look at Connor Watson. 3.5%, 574K, 66-point average there. I think that's based when he plays at least 60, 65 minutes in a game. 55 base and power, 7 create, 7 evade there. I'm assuming he starts at number 9. He could start at 13 still, and Ioli starts in that number 9 role. I do think at some stage Connor Watson will fill in that number 9 role for the first couple of games this year. I did make this graphic thinking Reece Robson would be back potentially round 6. Apparently he's going to be back around 3 now, which puts a little bit of a dampener on it, but not too much. I think it's a little cheeky option that you can potentially look at. If you're struggling, he's obviously dual hooker and 2RF as well. Do think it's a little sneaky option that you can look at based on if he plays at least 60, 65 minutes. His average is 66 points as well from last year. Going to get a bit of a uptick with the scoring, 574K there as well. But holy dooly, what an episode, guys. What a freaking episode. Going through 27 pods in every single position, pretty much 10% owned or under. 2RF, when I was doing this yesterday, the graphics was such an eye-opener for me. When you line it up with guys that you add like halves in their team that they work really well with when they play a certain amount of minutes, their averages completely change, especially under the new scoring. So definitely an eye-opener as well. As I spoke about, Rugby League Fantasy Pro is the program I'm using. It is a subscription. Literally, was it $20 for the whole year? You can literally see all the updated scoring. You can literally match it from going back to way back to 2019. You can put in the minimum amount of minutes that they played. You can put in the max amount of minutes. You can score tries. You can add in players that they've played with as well. You can do it based on the position that they played. You can do it based on finals as well. You can do it against teams that were outside the 8. You can do it bottom 4. You can do so many freaking stats. You can base off the weather as well. If it's rainy, if it's clear, showers. There's so many freaking options on there. I would highly recommend, if you're a keen Supercoach player like myself and you're looking to start your season well and have it throughout the whole year, I would highly advise looking at Rugby League Fantasy Pro. Is so good. Well worth it already for me. I think it's such a bloody good program. But such an eye-opener. So many different options you can look at in regards to the pods. Let me know down in the comments what pod you were looking at. Maybe I didn't list them there. Maybe there's another option that I missed. I think there's a couple CTWs that I may have looked at as well that I didn't quite put on there. I think the 2 that I didn't put on there was Tamale and then Shibasaki, based off what I saw yesterday. I think Shibasaki is a very good option. Maybe Karapani there as well. But let me know in the comments what you think. What is your pod heading into this season? I'd love to hear it. Let's have a bit of a chat, that sort of thing. Make sure you go check out all my socials. They'll be there all in the comments for you. But that'll be it. That's it for another week of the Trade Room doing pods. Make sure you go check out the other episodes that I've done. That'll do it for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers.